Hi, I'm Becky Walsh. So while we're going through all of this COVID-19 business, I thought I'd make a series of videos for you so that you can kind of pick and choose which ones are relevant to you at this particular moment in time, see what it is that you want to listen to. But there is a lot of in the news, like, you know, a lot of fear, a lot of awful things. But there are also a lot of really good things that are emerging, and I think that we need to think about this. For example, dolphins being found in Venice and fish in Venice, rather cool. You think about the amount of people who die from air pollution, and people with bad lungs and things like that live in cities. There are not as many cars on the road, there's not aeroplanes in the air. So there's a lot of actual lives being saved at this time, as well as kind of like thinking, oh, we're all going to, get ill and be sick. And if I get ill, how will I look after this person or this thing? Or who will look after me if I'm completely alone in the world? There's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety around the things that we can be worrying about. However, there is also the opposite scale of that as well. And I want you to think about the opposites, the lives that are being saved. Probably it's going to end up being like that we end up with more population because of baby booms and divorce booms and all sorts of stuff that's going on. Yes, now is a good time to be a divorce lawyer, because there's a load of stuff that happens like that. But here's the thing. Doesn't situations like this just bring into spotlight so clearly what actually matters? When you go on holiday, and while you're on holiday, you go, do you know what? I'm going to do things differently when I get home, because you've had time out to reflect. Well, this is your time out to reflect. What works? What really works in your life? And you might even find yourself kind of in a way feeling really giddy with the absurdity that is life, because when it pulls everything into real kind of reflection mode. And if you can, do some reflective journaling. I often find I write therefore I know what the heck it was I was thinking. So reflective journaling is a really good thing to do. But whilst you're in a sense like this holiday mode, even though it feels more like Christmas, nothing's open, nothing's happening. But while you're in this kind of mode, take time to reflect about what works and what doesn't work in your life, because it suddenly becomes very crystal clear the absurdities, the things we value that we shouldn't, the things we get upset about that we shouldn't. You will, in the next few weeks, be calling people that you haven't spoken to for ages, people you said you would never speak to again, and you will call them and you will check in on them, because suddenly all of that nonsense, that guy that ghosted you, that thing that happened, suddenly falls away, and you suddenly come very, very clear about what matters. And write it down so you don't forget, so that you remember who you are in this time period, because you are going into an inward mode of self-reflection. You can't help but go into an inward mode of self-reflection. Once you've cleaned out all the cupboards and done all of those little jobs that you wanted to do, or once you have been the front line in a crisis where you've had to step up and be really fabulous, when you've had to go whack to people who weren't listening, you need to see yourself as you are, as your authentic self through this time period, so that you can say, right, the world is never going to be the same from this point. I'm telling you now, it's never going to be the same, because capitalism wasn't working for quite a while. What we were doing to the environment was going to kill us anyway. We have not been in a great space for quite a long time. We have an incredible opportunity to rethink, reboot and rebuild where we are, to look at things again, to say, actually, I remember when we talked about climate change and people are going, oh, people aren't going to stop flying. You'll never get people out of aeroplanes. You're never going to get people out of their cars. Kind of did. So when you think about the way in which we've been living life, we are going to learn some valuable lessons from this. There's going to be leadership changes. How we governance is going to change, because there's been a lot of things that haven't worked about that. When we now kind of go, right, actually, community is so important. We really do need to rely on each other. The community groups that have sprung up off the back of this, the volunteers stepping forward, the people signing back up to the NHS. If you really feel that we're going to hell in a handbag, I will tell you, we were already in the handbag. We were already sailing down the river. We are on the bank. We are not sailing down the river anymore. I know that I'm saying this from a privileged perspective of not coughing my guts up, not worrying about other people. I get that. However, what I would say to you is if that you are finding yourself crying feeling like something is dying, feeling that we are losing something, I will tell you, throughout history, humanity has always ended up destroying something before something is rebuilt. That we don't actually galvanize and do anything until things fall apart. This is our opportunity. This is the opportunity where we rethink, reboot and redo things that we have been doing before. So please don't feel that this is like this awful ending, that it's the ending of life as we know it in a terrible way. It's the beginning of a new life that will start to work for us. It's the beginning of change. And I do know that the NHS will be at breaking point and all of these awful things are going to happen. But it doesn't help you to be sitting there chewing on that when you could be thinking about your contribution to the next phase of the human experience. I hope you get the chance to do that.